Wagner. Kind of has a ring to it, doesn't it?
It's awesome. That's Dave Wagner, in case you didn't know.
Hey there. How are you doing? You know, this is a show about bells, buzzers, and behind the scenes of Price is Right, other game shows, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So anything you want to talk about, really. I voiced some 9 different game shows in my lifetime.
Wow.
So any game shows you want to talk about, any game shows viewers want to talk about, they can leave comments for us on we have a dedicated Come On Down Facebook page at Facebook/Come On Down Podcast. So you can leave comments there and stuff. But where do you want to start?
You know, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Then a little while later, you know, he created The Price is Right, or somebody did.
I think Bob Barker and The Price is Right might have been first.
And then somewhere along the way, along came Rich Fields.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning, because this is kind of surreal how you began in this.
For me too.
I bet it was. So take me back. I mean, it really goes back to when you were a little kid.
It really does, Dave. My mom used to have, I say used to, she had it for many, many years, but since I moved back home here to the Tampa Bay area, we've gone to look for the tape. She used to have videotape of me, 9, 10 years old, standing in front of our TV set in Avon, Ohio, west of Cleveland, with a TV on and her black hairbrush like a microphone saying, "Come on down, a new car." Swear to God, I wanted to work there my whole life. So everything I did, schooling, college, jobs, it was all a step in my mind to get to California, to get seen, and to get on The Price is Right, to work with Bob Barker.
That is unbelievable. So, a little kid with a hairbrush saying, come on down. Where did you end up going to school, and how did you get, you went the radio route?
I did. You know, I went to the University of Florida in Gainesville, and I figured, okay, you know, I'll get into broadcasting.
Sure.
So I did. I did my very first weathercast ever up there at WUFT, and as a freshman. I mean, 18 years old, 19 years old. Sure. But I just didn't get the entertainment feel. It was news. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I thought, gosh, and then an opening came in radio. And I thought, oh, well, here you get your own show. You get to learn how to speak extemporaneously, you know. And so I got into radio. And then the jobs in radio started falling, and I just made sure that each market was a little bit closer to Los Angeles.
Were you thinking during this time when you were on the radio, because we both have background in radio.
Yeah.
When you were thinking when you were on the radio all the time is, I want to get out there to do The Price is Right. You were still thinking that?
Yes, I'm going to get on a Los Angeles radio station. I'm going to be close to auditions, you know, Hollywood, to go on auditions or to somehow worm my way in and get a job. And I spent a long time in radio out there and not getting it, not having it happen. But then I found out that Pat Sajak was a Los Angeles weatherman. David Letterman was a weatherman. Right. Diane Sawyer, I believe, was a weather woman. And I thought, you know what? I got to retool. I'm gonna go back to school, which I did. I went to Mississippi State University, studied meteorology. I said, now I'm going to get on TV out in California. So, you know, it's crazy to think, but that was the plan.
This is so calculating on your part. You could have ended up being a serial killer or what?
Yeah.
But somehow you thought, I mean, I can't believe you had the foresight. I mean, and how old were you at the time when you went back, you know, so you were in radio for how many years?
Oh, probably a decade.
Wow, okay.
Yep. I worked at CBS FM on Sunset Boulevard. You know, it was a different machinations of different stations in 10 years. You know how radio is different formats or whatever. And I happened to just stay on, you know, every format changed. My shift got better, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had an agent, and I was, you know, he was sending me out on auditions, but none of them were game show auditions, anything like that, you know. And I thought, God, I gotta get on TV. I need somebody to see me, you know. I need to be able to go into an audition and say, you know, oh, I'm the weatherman over at KCAL 9 or you know, KABC or something. And oh, you are? Well, come on in. Let's give you an audition.
Sort of a calling card.
Right.
Yeah. The people see you and back up for a second. Rich Fields. Not your real name, I take it.
It is.
Is it really?
Richard Wayne Fields.
No kidding?
Yeah, I swear.
Wow. Wow, you were born with a name for broadcast.
So I go out to California now. I've got my meteorology studies behind me, and there was a brand new startup in Palm Springs, and you know the area out there. It's not really the ADI, it's not the DMA of Los Angeles. It's just outside of LA. But I told my agent, I said it's close enough because I can drive. It's 90 minutes. I can drive into LA, and try to get these auditions and work. So I took this job at CBS 2 in Palm Springs. I was a young man at the time.
Good looking, strikingly handsome young man. Look at you there.
Yeah, and I said, this is going to be it. This is going to be the way it happens. And one night, we were working late. It was just before the 11 o'clock news. And a buddy of mine, an anchor out there named Eric Sandoval, he's actually at WESH in Orlando right now. And everybody, by the way, Dave, you and I, our relationship is new. So you're one of the few that didn't know I wanted to work on The Price is Right. There are people from Clearwater Central Catholic, Clearwater High School, University of Florida, anyone that ever met me knew I wanted to work with Bob Barker on The Price is Right. So here we are. I'm out in Palm Springs working at CBS 2.
Sure.
And Eric Sandoval comes over to my desk at like 5 minutes to 11. And this isn't still AP Rip and Read. Remember those?
Of course I do. Yeah.
Not that you ripped and read it, but...
No, sometimes you did, though.
Yeah. But anyway, he came over with this thing off the AP wire, and he laid it on my desk, and he says, what are you going to do? And I looked at it, and the date line said Hollywood. It said, Rod Roddy, the announcer of The Price is Right, has just passed away. And I looked at Eric. I said, I'm calling on The Price is Right on Monday. This was a Friday evening. I said, I'm calling Price is Right on Monday. So my wife and I sat in the living room, and we watched the end credits on The Price is Right, and it said executive producer Bob Barker. And I said, I can't call him. That's going to be impossible.
Sure. And no Google at the time.
Right, exactly. Right. This was pre-internet. And the next one came up, said producer Roger Dobkowitz. And so I called Television City, where they tape The Price is Right.
You mean Television City in Hollywood?
In Hollywood. Live from CBS. Yeah, exactly. So I called Television City, their main operator, and I said, Price is Right, please, Roger Dobkowitz. And she said, that's a whole nother, that's Fremantle Media. They do have a trailer on the lot. Let me give you that number. So she gives me the phone number, and I call up, and I said, they were like, hi, Price is Right. I said, Roger Dobkowitz, please. And the girl's like, hang on a second. One ringy-dingy, two ringy-dingy. Hi, it's Roger.
They put him on the phone.
He picked up his own phone.
That's unbelievable.
I was shocked. I even said that. I was like, I'm shocked you answered your own phone. He was, well, we're just a small little band of, Indians here. I said, Roger, my name's Rich Fields. You don't know me from a hole in the wall. But I used to do a Mark Goodson, here I am dropping names. I used to do a Mark Goodson game show in the state of Florida. Do you remember the Florida Lottery's Flamingo Fortune game show by any chance?
You bet.
That was my first announcer job in a TV game show, and it was produced by Mark Goodson Productions at the time. And I said, I used to do the show in Florida. I understand Rod Roddy's passed away. I don't want to be a vulture, but I know how production goes. I'm sure you're going to need somebody. And he says, you got that right. Because studio time's already rented. I mean, everything's paid for. You got to keep production going. And I said, well, how can I get in front of you and Mr. Barker? And he said, well, why don't you send me a tape of what you sound like? And I said, like my radio stuff or game show stuff? And he said, a little of both. So, and I said, did I say tape? Cassette tapes. Actually, they were now CDs we were sending out. Instead of cassette tapes, we were burning stuff to CDs.
You were high tech, yeah.
High tech. So I sent him the CD of some stuff, including Flamingo Fortune, and a good 10 days went by, and I didn't hear a thing, and my wife was like, geez, are you going to call him back? And I'm trying to wait him out, I'm trying to play cool. Right. I didn't want to be a vulture, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And I figured, well, he's got it, and right about a couple of days later, right about when I was going to call him, Roger called back, and he said, hey, we got your CD. I listened to it. We've got a bunch of others too, because every agent in town now is sending Price is Right, announcer material. And he says, we want to take it to the next level. And I said, what's that? And he said, well, I'm going to send you a script from the show, and where all Rod Roddy's parts are, I want you to recut those and send it back to me. So I did. Here I am working at CBS 2 in Palm Springs. It was easy to go into production room and.
What kind of lines were they?
They were like product reads and mid-break stuff. Mid-break is for tickets. Right, the price is right. CBS Television City, 6121. So it was that kind of stuff. There was a couple of product description things. I believe a new car was in there. It's a 2004. This is, by the way, it's a 2004 Camry. Blah 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 blah. So I send this over to him, and again, too many days go by for me to wait. I don't know about you, but
oh sure, you begin to at that point it's like, I'm not getting this gig.
And he's already told me there's other people and other agents calling him.
And you assume that, there are probably people who just like you had dreamed of this, big market TV or radio folks who are interested in this.
Lots of guys, the real Don Steele, Charlie Tuna.
Wow.
Really big names that were announcers on other shows, Wheel of Fortune and stuff like that. Johnny Gilbert was
But were they as strikingly handsome? As
God bless you. I'd kiss you right now if I was allowed to, but I think there's an HR thing.
You can't
involved.
do that. Yeah.
Remind me about that sometime. That was one of the first things I said to Mr. Barker when I got the job about a kiss. That's a whole other podcast.
I will remind you. Yeah, I'm sure that's maybe 2 or 3 episodes.
So a few days go by again, to 10 days, almost 2 weeks, and again, God bless my wife Christine. She was like, "You got to call.
Yeah.
You've got to call." And I said, "Okay, I'm going to get home from work at lunch, and I'm going to call Roger over there." And he calls that day. Again, it's like ESP. And he says, "Hi, Rich, Roger." I said, "Hey, Roger." Hey, he goes, "Well, I just want you to know that Mr. Barker and I listened to your CD, and I thought, oh, geez.
Yeah, this is it. He's going to let you down easy.
And we'd like to take it to the next level." And I said, "What's that?" And Roger said, "Well, we'd like you to come in and do an audition with Mr. Barker."
Wow.
I about
passed out.
You know what? Yeah, that's the nice way of saying it. And I said, "Okay." And he was like, "When can you? I know you're working over at CBS 2 in Palm Springs. Right. When can you come?" And I said, "Look, Roger, you tell me, and I'll be there." Mm-hmm. He said, and this was like a Thursday, and he said, "How about Monday?" And I said, "Okay." And he said, "Well, don't you need to tell the people at CBS 2 about it?" I said, "Roger, believe me, whatever happens with CBS 2, I'll be at The Price is Right on Monday." You know what I mean? So I didn't really know how to handle it at the time. The station was putting up billboards, Rich was right, CBS 2 weather, all this stuff. They had a real campaign. Sure. I mean, they were really starting to spend some money, and I kind of felt bad because they had just launched this huge campaign. And so I took some PTO, some paid time off, and I went to Hollywood. Oh, and Roger says to me on the phone, he says, "Oh, make sure you bring a few changes of clothes, And I said, "Oh?" He said, "Well, yeah." And I was like, "Why?" He said,
gosh.
"Well, you're going to do a week's worth of shows." I said, "On the air?" He said, "Yeah."
You hadn't told your station about...
No. Well, I'm still on the phone with Roger, and he's like, "Can you be here Monday?" And I was like, "I'll be there Monday." Yeah. And so, we used to shoot 2 shows a day, 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So we'd do 6 shows in a week. We'd have every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off.
Okay.
So we would shoot 3 weeks on, 1 week off, 3 weeks on, 1 week off. Pretty cakewalk shift. Yeah. So he says, "You're going to do 6 shows, so you need 6 different suits."
Did you have them?
Yeah, because TV weather.
Sure.
Well,
Yeah.
How many suits do you own? I mean,
I have a lot,
right?
A lot.
Yeah, I mean, a lot. And so I bring all these clothes, and I go out to Hollywood, and just scared out of my wits now.
I bet. I mean, I can't believe you could kind of hold it together. It must have been nerve-wracking.
I'm shocked that I did. You know what I mean? But
you hadn't met Bob Barker up to that point,
no,
right?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Only in my dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went there when I was 18.
Did you really?
I made my dad take me to The Price is Right. We couldn't get in because, back in the Bob Barker days, the cattle call lines to get in were enormous. You'd wait 3 days to see a show. And people would. They'd sleep out on Fairfax Boulevard for days just to get in. And so so we get to CBS Television City. We take this trek out to California. We get to CBS Television City, and my dad was always kind of hook and crook. He he just had a way of doing things and getting into places. And do you know the Grove next door to Television City?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're at the Grove, and we're watching these people go back into CBS from their lunch breaks, and there's these revolving gates you go through. You'd scan your card, and the gate would, and you go through, and he's like, let's go. And I said, we're going to try to sneak in on these people, you know what I mean? He's like, let's just go. So the last person in line goes through, and Dad pushes the gate. Obviously, it's locked. Yeah. And there's a little intercom there with a button, and it says, push to hail the guard. There was a guard shack, maybe 50 yards away by the commissary where trucks pull in and out. And so Dad pushed the button, and the guard said yes, and Dad said, hey, we can't get in. And the guard was like, hang on a second. All these people just walked through. He was like, eh.
He didn't lie, he just said you couldn't get in, right.
And so here we are now on the lot.
Two stalkers on a lot.
Two stalkers on the lot. And thank God, one or two of those people that had just walked in stopped at that guard shack and talked to him. And Dad was like, just come on, just follow him. Don't stop, just go. And we walked right past those people as the guard was talking. He thought we were employees. He didn't say my card didn't work. He just said, hey, it's not working. Right. And we walked right up the ramp, massive elephant doors of CBS, right past the commissary, right into the first floor, and The Price is Right, stage 33 is like right there. And there's prizes, there's cars, there's games.
Oh, my goodness.
Because there was a show that day. Yeah. There were two shows that day.
Sure.
And the reveals where the models would flip up the thing and they'd be like, it's $10,800.
Right.
So I'm looking at all the prices and stuff, Dad's opening refrigerators. Yeah, now look at all this fake. This is a fake milk bottle. Look, there's nothing in it. We're literally. And all of a sudden, we hear from down the hall, hey, who are you? And this guy comes up, and he's a badge-carrying California gaming official.
Oh, and you've just looked at things that are supposed to be kept secret.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Since the age of 21, California passed these laws that on sets of game shows, there are these folks. And so he's like, who are you? We have no lanyards to say that we're producers or anything. He's like, who are you people? We're like, Dad was like, we're just visiting. I'm showing my son around. He's like, well, who are you? Most people don't ask.
Right.
This guy asked, well, who are you? And Dad was like, I'm Don Fields. Are you involved with the production? No. Wait. And he gets on a walkie-talkie and he was like, hey, I need somebody backstage right now. He was calling producers of The Price is Right. And so this woman comes back with the clipboard and she's like, yeah. And he's like, these guys, they're like tourists and they're back here. They've seen all the they've seen everything here.
Right.
What do you, we don't have time to change out prizes and change prices. What do we do with it? We need to sequester these two people, he said. And so Kathy Greco, she's a longtime producer there, and folks that are fans of The Price is Right know who she is. She says, oh gosh, you guys, you're not supposed to be back here, and we really do. We have to make sure you're not giving people, all these prices and helping them and so on and so forth. And the guy says, well, they're going to have to sit backstage with the producers. You got to keep an eye on them. And so Kathy says, okay, all right. So she takes us backstage, stage right, producer's table, all this stuff. And it's really busy and there's really no room for guests. And so her and Roger Dobkowitz, the guy I told you that they originally called, there's Roger, sweetest man in the whole wide world. A lot of time with Roger, just a sweet man.
That's awesome.
So Roger, Kathy says, Roger, there's really no room for them back here. And Roger says, well, put them in the back row and just keep an eye on them back there. So the gaming official's kind of out of the mix now.
Sure.
And they've just made this quick decision. Okay, put them in the back row.
Right.
Let them sit there. People are yelling stuff out anyway. They'll be drowned out by the crowd. Nobody will ever know. And so they did. They put us in the very back row, and within minutes, the lights go down, the music comes up, and it was Disco Inferno by the Tramps.
Oh, sure.
Dun, 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 dun. Right.
Yeah.
All these disco lights going. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the announcer of The Price is Right, Johnny Olson. And the master comes bouncing out all and welcome to The Price is Right, everybody. People are fever. He's dancing. He's an old guy, kind of rotund, but it's funny, and he's dancing. And all right. So there's a couple do's and don'ts I got to give you before the show. If you're wearing a sweater, make sure your tag is on the outside of the sweater so Mr. Barker can read your name. Don't attack Bob when you get up on stage. He gives all these little things. And he gets done and he says, are there any questions out there in the audience?
No.
Yes.
You didn't
Yes.
say, oh, no.
Yes, I did. I said, Johnny, I got a question for you. He was like, yeah, you, back row. I stood up. I said, how do I get your job? And the crowd bust up laughing. I was young. I was 18.
Oh, my gosh.
Everybody bust up laughing. He's like, oh, you think you can do my job, kid? Well, come on up here. Come on up here. And so Kathy Greco and Roger now are like,
now you're on stage.
I come running on down. This is before the show, right?
No.
So I come running on down, and the crowd's like, yeah, Johnny, give the kid a shot. And Johnny hands me the microphone. He says, use my name. Call me down to contestants row. Let's hear what you got. So I took the mic. I said, Johnny Olson, come on down. You're the next contestant on The Price is Right. And the crowd went berserk. And that electricity, Dave, that reaction, I knew I wanted to work there my whole life up to then. That was it. I was hooked. It was, oh my God, I got to do this forever. I got to do this for the rest of my life.
So after you served 10 years in prison for breaking into The Price is Right.
This is in books. This story is in books.
Is it?
Yeah. You can Google it. It's out there in a couple of different books about.
So you did this. Your father broke you into. And he was a nice man, but also had a mind of a felon.
Yes.
But then you got in there. But then you ended up years later. So you're in Palm Springs.
I'm in Palm Springs.
You end up reaching out to them. They invite you down, and then you're there at The Price is Right.
I'm there at The Price is Right, and I get to do these auditions with Bob Barker. This picture that you're seeing now is me during a rehearsal of one of my audition shows. You can see by the glee in my face how happy I am to be there.
Yeah.
And so I end up doing these 6 shows with Mr. Barker.
Right.
And let me tell you something, Dave. This is the weirdest thing. Like the first day of taping. After the second show, and if there's any pickups, if I've made any flubs in the copy, as they're exiting the audience out, lights are going down already. Stagehands are already ripping apart the stage, and a little pen light thing over my podium, and it's lit on the copy, and now it's literally the associate director upstairs in the booth and a guy down in what they called Jurassic Park in the basement. Running tape.
Sure.
And so there's really only 2 people and me involved now. Everybody else is split. It's that quick. It's a mass exodus the second the show's over. And so I had a couple pickups to do, and I finished them, and I didn't realize that the audience was already gone. I didn't realize that the stage was dark and that I was just trying to concentrate on this. And so the associate director says, okay, that's it. You're clear, Rich. And my little pen light went off. The mic was off. I took off the headphones, I hung them up, and then I realized, oh my God, I'm in this studio all by myself. It's pitch dark, except for the elephant door open and some light coming through. And I thought, well, do I go to the trailer and check out? Do I say goodbye? Or what? You know what I mean? Nobody said a word.
Yeah, right.
Not a word.
Everybody else knew what they were doing except you were new. Yeah.
Everybody knew what they were doing but me.
Yeah.
And so I'm walking out to my car, and I called my wife. I said, well, first day's over. She goes, how did it go? I said, I have no idea. I can't tell you.
Nobody spoke to you afterward.
Nobody said a word to me. Not hey, good job. Not hey, do this next time. Nothing.
They give you no feedback.
None. And here I got to come back tomorrow and do 2 shows, and then Wednesday 2 more shows.
Right.
And it was kind of a repeat every day. And so the second day when it all happened again and nobody said a word, I thought, you know what? It just dawned on me. I said, well, you know what? This is Hollywood. And everybody that's working, at least at this show, and I found out in later years at most shows, nobody gives you accolades, Dave. Nobody says attaboy. It's you're good or you wouldn't be there. kind of thing, and nobody strokes your ego. Nobody says anything. There's no criticism whatsoever. Until the day they fire you, I guess. You know what I mean? Then you realize, well,
I guess I didn't measure up.
Something didn't go right. So it was just a matter of coming back and doing shows. And then I got done with the third day, and I'm literally driving back to Palm Springs. I stayed in a hotel there, by the way.
I did.
Best Western on Highland Avenue. If you look it up, if you Google the Best Western on Highland Avenue, just north of Hollywood Boulevard, you're going to say, wow, that's where he stayed.
They spared no expense.
Well,
at the time, it was probably,
I mean, that wasn't even in the mix. Roger just said, get a place and stay overnight. You're going to need, Monday, Tuesday night at least. Wednesday, you can probably go back to Palm Springs.
Did they pay for it?
I can't remember if they did or not, frankly. I don't think they did.
Yeah, you wouldn't have cared anyway.
I did, right.
Stayed anywhere. Yeah.
So here it is, Wednesday. I've done 6 shows, and I'm walking out again. I'm actually driving home, and I called my wife. I said, well, I'm on my way back to Palm Springs. And she said, anything? Did anybody? I said, nothing.
Wow.
She goes, what do you make of that? I said, I must have sucked. Honestly.
Right.
They figured, well, let's just get these 6 shows out of the way
right.
and be done with them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I go back to Palm Springs, and I go back to CBS 2, from the paid 3 days.
Had you told your station yet?
No.
Oh,
no, I didn't. Because I didn't know how far it was going to go.
Right. Yeah.
And I knew these shows were going to air, but I knew they wouldn't air for months.
Right.
And I knew I had time to let them know about this audition, and oh gosh, it didn't happen.
Right.
Or whatever. And so I go back to Palm Springs and CBS 2, and I'm back on the air doing weather every night and everything. And like a week goes by at least, and Roger calls back. And he says, hey, Rich. I said, hi, Roger. He said, well, I just wanted to let you know we thought you were fantastic. I said, really? I said, because, and I told him, I said, because nobody said a thing to me. Nothing. I mean, you, Kathy, nobody. Nobody on the crew. I mean, well, I'm sorry about that. And he goes, would you like to come back and do another week's worth with Bob? And I said, yes, of course I would. Okay, and he scheduled the days, and I said, all right, I'll be there. And now, geez, I can't take time off again.
2 weeks
right,
right.
I can't go back and say, oh, geez, I'm back for, 6, 8, 10 days of work. I need more time off.
Right.
I thought, I got to tell him now. And so I did. I went to the news director, Aaron Gahuli. Aaron, love you to death. Bill Evans was the GM. Bill, thank you so much. I mean, they worked deals to get me out in the end, and we'll talk about that in another episode. But I said, hey, there's something you guys, I need to tell you, and I've been auditioning to be the new announcer on The Price is Right. And one looked at the other, and Bill Evans, the GM, was like, wow, that's fantastic. Oh. How can we parlay this into some kind of promotion? That quick.
Wow.
And I said, gee, I don't know. We'd have to talk to somebody at Fremantle Media, Roger Dobkowitz, the producer of the show. I said, I don't know. He was like, well, I mean, can we get Bob Barker to maybe cut a promo for us that says you're fill-in announcer guy or something? I said, I have no idea. He goes, well, can you call him? I was like, right now? Yeah. So I get out.
Did you have Bob Barker's number at that point?
Not Bob's, but I had Roger's.
Yeah, right.
And there's no phone with your contacts.
Oh, right.
It's literally the black book, we used to have. And so I pulled it out, and I dial Roger's number, Fremantle Media's number at The Price is Right. I said, hey, Roger Dobkowitz, please hang on. It's like, hi, it's Roger, one ringy ding. Hi, it's Roger. I said, Roger, Rich Fields. Yeah, Rich, hi. I said, may I put you on speakerphone? I'm in the office with my news director and the GM, and they have some questions for you. Well, sure. So I put him on speakerphone. I introduced everybody. Yeah. And I said, and Bill, go ahead. You had a question for Roger. Yeah, how can we parlay this and get some mileage out of this? We're a CBS station. You guys are on CBS. Can we get Bob Barker to cut us a promo that we'll air on our air out here in the desert? Watch these shows. Rich said he cut 6 shows. Yeah. Watch these. Well, I think, yes. Let me check with Mr. Barker, but I think that's doable.
Wow.
Shocking.
Unbelievable.
Shocking.
Yeah.
And a couple days later, they called me back up to the GM's office, and they said, watch this. and it was Bob Barker on the set of The Price is Right. And I'll have to dig it up. I do have a copy of it.
Wow.
And, hi, everybody, Bob Barker at The Price is Right. Make sure you're watching, all of this week for CBS 2 Chief Meteorologist Rich Fields as the interim announcer.
Wow.
He cut it.
Yeah.
And so they play this thing. And,
I'm sure.
And I've already told them I've got to go back and do another week, and they were like so cool with that.
Wow.
So they call Roger about the second week and they say, look, instead of Rich taking time off and coming to do these shows, we'd like him to do his weathercasts from CBS Television City and send them back to us in the desert. Is that possible? And Roger was like, well, yeah. There's satellite trucks parked all over the parking lot.
Wow.
I think we can get one of these. And they did.
Wow.
So here I went and did my whole second week's worth of auditions live from Television City.
My gosh.
And Dave, I barely did weather.
Yeah.
I maybe in a 3-4 minute hit, maybe the last 30 seconds was actual, like the 7-day forecast or something. But the entire other 3 minutes, and I made sure I had different things lined up. I was literally taking him behind the scenes of Television City.
Wow.
First, The Price is Right for,
Oh my gosh.
the couple of hits that night, and then the next day I took them over to Bold and Beautiful, and they're hot sets. There's nobody on the set anymore, but it's all taped off, hot set and everything, and that means don't move anything on this desk, or in this particular set, because Monday morning we're going to come back and that business card needs to be exactly right there where she laid it, you know what I mean? So I was doing crazy stuff. I would take out my CBS 2 business card and I'd put it over that one, you know what I mean? And I'd be like, okay, now watch, Young and the Restless next week. You'll see my business card sitting in this little thing. So I was just doing crazy stuff. There's a vault below CBS where all the prizes, all the expenses stuff, and money is kept. People don't know this, but I got
The Price is Right.
Yeah, but I got permission to go down there. I was like the first one ever to take a camera down there.
They must have loved it back at the station.
They loved it, and the San Diego Emmy people loved it so much. We got an Emmy for it.
You must. I mean, you're the luckiest man on earth. You must have been floating during this time.
I was ecstatic. I was out of my mind with glee. And here I am, my second week of audition. It feels pretty good. And by the way, the week that I wasn't doing it, another guy was in there.
Oh.
And so the week after my second week, another guy was in there. So I knew there were other people in the mix. Yeah. But I felt really good about it.
That's cool that your dad was able to let the air out of their tires.
So this picture here is actually me after my last audition day. So they were having a party because it happened to be the 6,000th show on The Price is Right. And we can Google it and find out how many shows The Price is Right has done. But that was literally my second week of auditions right there. And, this is in Bob Barker's dressing room, by the way, in one corner of a very large dressing room.
What was that like, the dressing room?
Crazy, beautiful.
Yeah.
He had pictures of animals all over the beautiful, beautiful framed photographs of leopards and all kinds of stuff around.
Cool.
And he had a really nice dressing room. My dressing room was right across the hall from his, so it was cool. Once I got the job, it'd be like, hey, Mr. Barker, yeah, Rich, come on in, or even him sometimes, and he'd knock on my door, Rich, and I'd be like, yeah, come on in, and he'd a dinky, tiny. I had a tiny. I mean, you see where we're sitting in this, come on down podcast studio of ours.
Yeah.
It was small. There was just room enough for like a love seat of a couch, and there was a bathroom for makeup and whatever, and a small closet. And so for Bob to come in my dressing room and sit down, that was like, he was slumming it.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
So it was just it was a whirlwind. And I told you about that Best Western Hotel on Highland.
Yeah.
Once I do get the job, and I've skipped over a lot, once I do get the job, I'm back at that Best Western, by the way, only because of the proximity that it was to CBS. And this is a photograph of me actually signing my contract.
Wow.
For The Price is Right. Try to blow it up. See what numbers you can find.
Yeah. Did you blur them all out?
No, I did try to blow it up to see if there's anything anybody could read. And by the way, you see the CD next to me? I
do.
That is the exact CD that I sent Roger and Bob when they said, take the script and go cut the script. And so, I had seen it on Roger's desk, and I said, Roger, do you need that anymore? And he was like, no. So, do you mind if I have that? Because I have it at home just as a, I don't know why, just as a.
That's so cool.
memento.
Do you have any of those early shows yourself? Did you get copies of them?
I have, no, Rod Roddy, when I got the job officially, I met a young guy named Lawrence Siegel. He used to work at The Price Right. He was a cue card guy, and he was a really good friend of Rod's, and Rod had nobody. And Rod left everything to Lawrence. And Lawrence knew my affinity for not only Johnny, but Rod as well. I mean, I had a real respect for both these guys. I'd mention them in all my warm-ups, the entire 7 seasons that I did. I mentioned them every day, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm getting a little choky, just thinking about it.
Sure.
Don't make me cry, Dave. Who do you think you are,
That's
Barbara
the goal
Walters?
of all good interviewers.
I told people, I said, I've got this seasoned investigative reporter going to be the host of this show. I'm kind of worried, that you would trap me into a corner or something I couldn't answer. But
you're going to be in tears by the end of this, yeah.
Okay.
And in jail as well.
And in jail, well, yeah. Well, CBS has since told me, don't tell that story.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I still... still do.
Once again, he follows no rules, folks.
What are they going to do? Fire me now? But so I forget what I was going to say, but it was just an absolute whirlwind. I have a bunch of pictures now. I told you I got an Emmy for doing those backstage things. This is me actually in
Channel
my CBS 2.
2.
Yeah. Just all over The Price is Right those first couple of days, and just showing everybody the empty studio and what it's like to be there.
So cool.
Yeah, I'd take them behind the big wheel and show them exactly what's behind the big wheel. Nothing. There's nothing. It's plywood. Not even painted. People's names. Everybody autographs the back of it. Models.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't lift up the the prizes like you did with your dad.
I did learn my lesson on that. That's for sure. But it just was. It was a crazy time, and I'll never forget it. It was really kind of cool. But there's so much in between, and I'm sure in podcasts to come, you'll dig out little nuggets of stuff that I've completely forgot about with regard to this. But
wow, this is so cool. And your parents, did they? When you were going along this path, were they supportive of this?
Oh, God,
and then, well, obviously, your dad broke you into the studios, but when you got the gig, what were they around?
Yeah. My dad didn't pass away till 2009, and I started Price is Right in 2004, so he got to enjoy some of it. I took them both to the show to meet Mr. Barker.
Oh, so cool.
And whenever you're a guest, let me see if I can find a photograph. Let's just do this one here. This front, there's contestants, right? You see those green seats? So right behind those, whenever you watch The Price is Right, the 3 or 4 chairs right behind contestants row are always guests of the production company.
Oh, okay.
So I had mom and dad sitting there, and they pan the audience, as I say, from CBS, television sitting in Hollywood, they're panning, and they always slow down when they get to the guests. If you watch a show, well, everything's changed now because of COVID, but they, there's mom and dad beaming and stuff. So
that's fantastic. How exciting for you.
Yeah, it was just the entire time was crazy Hollywood whirlwind stuff.
Yeah. Well, what's neat about this is, it's not just about the game show. It's about your journey and your dream and fulfilling your dream. And we all have dreams that we want to accomplish in our lives.
Yeah, tunnel vision.
And you accomplished it, which is just amazing.
Tunnel vision. Everything I did, maybe I didn't get into a market I thought was going to get me to LA, but it was something interim. And you know what? As soon as I got there, I was looking to make the next move. You know what I mean? How am I going to get there? How am I going to do it? What's going to be the vehicle to get me noticed? And it was just tunnel vision the whole time.
Gosh, this is so cool. This is fun.
But we will talk of more because the tally light's saying we got to go.
Okay, we got to go.
What do you want to talk about next time? Any idea? What, like top of your head just after talking today?
Oh my goodness! I mean, I want to know about Bob Barker. I want to know about the contestants. I want to know what they were like, the crazy moments of that.
Yeah.
What do you think the next episode should be?
Oh golly! I mean, you say what was Bob Barker like, and it just takes me to like Christine and I sitting at a restaurant in Hollywood with him. A number of times. I mean, just to be out in personal time with him, or at his house, sitting in his kitchen. All his furniture was like from 1979. Never changed any of it. Dorothy Jo, his wife, passed away in '84, and Bob didn't change a thing.
Wow.
Not one thing. Formica, tops on stuff, and the yellow, not even leather, but like plastic, kitchen chairs, and it's like a time warp going into his house. It's just, there's so much to talk about. I mean, it's just crazy. Really, I knew I was blessed, and I tried to enjoy every second of it.
Well, you're a lucky man. I mean, you really are. I know it's hard work, dedication, determination.
You know what? Maybe on the next episode, we can talk about anything we want, but maybe on the next episode, ask me about getting the call, about getting the job, of them saying, it's you.
Okay.
Because it's pretty crazy.
That's what we call a tease.
So until next time.
Yep, another episode of
Dave Wagner. Come on down.
with Rich Fields.
All right, and we'll see you on TV.
Thanks for tuning in to Come On Down with Rich Fields. See more photos and videos mentioned on this episode. Plus, interact with Rich on Facebook at facebook.com/ComeOnDownPodcast or on Twitter at ComeOnDownPod. Have a question for Rich? Use Facebook Messenger to connect on our Come On Down Podcast Facebook page. And remember, new episodes are live every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern.